Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. And, what a lot of things we have to talk about today. Everything's getting disrupted. Modern's getting disrupted. White is going to get boosted power cards. We're going to talk all about that today. And also, we do Decklist reviews. So you've got a 75 that you want some feedback on. Would you like to fix the win condition? Do you want to fix the mana base? Do you need to make this a budget deck? Submit it to us, and both myself and the community will give you that feedback. So brew up your cup of coffee and let's brew up some magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for February 19th, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu Merfolk Master. And let's see everyone that's available today this morning. We got Fraser, Andreas, Hawkburn. Good morning, everyone. Cithrone, Ramen. It wouldn't be Coffee and MTG if it were on time. That's right. I'm just really tardy these days. I'm staying up too late. And then whatever. These are all my problems. Papa Joe, MTG, Dexter, Johnson. Time's a construct. Coffee and MTG transcends that. You're early for once? You're early or I'm extra late. One of the two. Thanks for showing up, Dr. Unicorns. Good morning, Ethan. Good morning, Lassie. Good morning, Aaron, Frederick, Carlos, Ugly Hood Rat, Ethan. Petition to change the official name of combo decks to spell midrange, only if they're slow enough. So we're talking like Bring to Light, Scape Shift. We're talking like maybe Storm, because Storm isn't so fast as it used to be. It used to be a consistent turn 3, sometimes turn 2 combo deck before they banned all the Storm cards, all the rituals and the ponders and stuff. But maybe that could be an official term going into it. Good morning, Snuffleupafish. Anyway, I'm excited today because we got a special guest on the show. You better believe every so often I bring on the content creators. This is like basically this guy's debut. And this guy is a master of building on a budget. On any archetype, basically, you can bring that price down and still make it a playable deck. I'd love to welcome onto the show Maelstrom MTG, also a fan of Coffee and MTG. You might have seen him in the comment section. Welcome, Maelstrom.
Hi. Hi. I really like to do a lot of like magic stuff, and so I decided that when I would start my channel, I decided I'd try to go for something that nobody really does a lot, and everybody's like, "Oh, Modern's too expensive." So I was like,
right.
"Bet."
And I've one of my most popular old videos is something about like you can build a mana base on the budget. Like Modern is not nearly as expensive as you think. You don't need fetch lands, shock lands to make a lot of archetypes work, especially in the last meta game. There weren't that many like it's not like Jund was the biggest deck. It was like Rakdos. But Maelstrom MTG's YouTube channel is dedicated to help you build on a budget and on a variety of archetypes. I've dedicated just to budget merfolk, but we got like budget shapeshifters, budget lantern control, rats, hollow one. What else do we have here? We have affinity, angels, storm. Is budget storm even a thing? It's like 100. The whole stock 75 is basically $100.
Yeah, the main thing for that was basically just tweaking the mana base a bit.
Gotcha. So if you're interested in building on a budget, you can find Maelstrom MTG's YouTube channel in the description. But he's going to be on the show today helping me answer questions. So let's get through it. Could Esper Stoneblade be viable for Thoughtseize and Inquisition? Well, someone did that to me not too long ago. I was up against Esper Stoneblade, and what can I say? I was up against Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek. It's absolutely viable. Do you have any thoughts on this?
I think a deck like Stoneblade, I don't know. That's one of the things that I have yet to. Most of my experience recently has been with a bunch of like budget decks and playing them online, and I have very little experience because I use untap.in. It's a free website. And nobody plays Stoneblade. But I feel like a deck like that, I don't know. I guess it could run it.
Stoneblade was gone for a little while, but now it's going to be coming back.
Yeah.
That, there's no more Uros in the metagame.
I could definitely see Thoughtseize or Inquisition being played in that kind of deck though. But right now, with all of the aggro decks that I'm seeing, I would definitely suggest Inquisition because you're gonna hit basically anything anyway, and you're not gonna lose the life.
Just out of curiosity, for anyone who's looking at Thoughtseize and saying, "Wow, this is a big chunk of the budget for a deck," like what is your budget recommendations for hand disruption?
Okay, so this is gonna be where some people cringe. So sometimes I'll still use Inquisition, and then I'll decide.
Okay.
But when I make replacements for cards and decks, so like counter spells like Force of Negation or even Thoughtseize, you have to. It really varies from deck to deck. You have to be like, what am I trying to hit with this? Is it something? And a few of my decks really just run duress. They really do just run duress.
It does the job very, very often. I mean, outside of hitting the creatures, I mean, it's still going to do the job against most combo decks. Classic duress. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards this card. But I mean, it still works. Still works. Here, whoops. Where we go? What do you think about the reveal of mana value instead of CMC? They should have just changed converted mana cost to literally just CMC as like an acronym. That's probably what they should have done. I have nothing against mana value, to be honest, though. What are your thoughts, Maelstrom?
For this topic, I actually heard about this last night. I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep because I struggle on waking up. But I saw this and I'm like, that's really weird. And honestly, changing it to CMC, I'm not a fan of. I use CMC all the time, but it would be really like just imagine looking at that as a new player where mana value is going to be one of those things where we find it weird and we're going to be really against it at first, and in like 3 weeks it's going to be perfectly fine. We're going to be used to it.
I was thinking about this, like, I agree mostly. I mostly agree. It's just a change people don't feel like is not necessary. But you know what? There's a lot of really cumbersome terminology in Magic, like dredging. Now it's just called milling, and we already had a name for milling anyway. So they keyworded it. I think the same thing is with mana value. I think it's going to catch on. But I was thinking about all the things that they've given names for in the past that some of them caught on, but some of them didn't. Like maybe Dimir caught on, but we don't call it Azorius control as often as we call it blue-white control. Or we very often call things like black-green rock or black-green mid-range. Golgari mid-range is less used. Then like somehow rug is still used instead of teamer. If you know what I mean. But some of them caught on. Like we use Abzan. We don't call it black, green, white. So some things have caught on, some things have not. What do you people think did not catch on? What are some things that never caught on? That would be my question to the community. Oh, thoughts on the new Strixhaven command spells? I forgot Strixhaven is creating spoilers. Okay, we got to go to Mythic Spoiler. To the spoilers, Maelstrom.
I'm personally very happy to see the Golgari one. I can't remember what the other one was though.
Where's the newest spoilers? Show me. Oh yeah, and there's a bunch of really neat. So what are some of the? Okay, so this is some of the alternate arts. They're bringing the Japanese stuff out for the weebs. And I don't know what this. I mean, basically, they're bringing the what's it called? Masterpieces back. I don't know what these cards are. What is this? Oh, is this just ops?
So those are opt swords and tutor.
Yeah, demonic tutor. Oh, I didn't realize. I didn't catch white, blue, black and generic. All right, I think this opt is sick, but it's just a masterpiece. These are not actually part of the set, but these are. So we actually have some spoilers. Let's go check them out one by one. Witherbloom Command. Sorry, it's a rare. Might become budget if it's not popular. I actually think this one doesn't look too bad because you got to pay attention to anything that's 2 mana. for the most part. You gotta expect anything that's 2 mana. Golgari is a close second. Okay, Witherbloom Command, black-green sorcery, choose 2. Target player. Gonna make this bigger. Oops. There we go. Witherbloom Command, target player mills 3 cards, then you return a land card from your graveyard to your hand. Technically, I guess you can mill your opponent for some reason. And destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. And target creature gets -3/-1 until end of turn, or target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So I think this is a pretty versatile card. I thought it was a little redundant that destroy target non-creature, non-land permanent with convert. Oh, it doesn't hit creatures is the problem. So you can hit anything but you can hit the planeswalkers. Here's a
Yeah, so your turn 1 Aether Vial into turn 2 Silvergill kind of gets blown out.
Oh, you mean my Silvergill? Oh, you mean
because I'll just destroy your
dies?
Aether Vial and then your Merfolk.
Oh yeah, it's choose 2. But I drew a card off of Silvergill Adept, so hopefully that's not too bad. This definitely looks playable though. This looks super playable. The Golgari one could really hurt Merfolk, killing a creature plus a vial in 1 card. Well, which creature they're going to kill? I mean, maybe Master of Waves, but there's like infinite removal for Master of Waves anyway, so I don't really care. We could further play around this by just siding the vials out. I know I like to keep some vials in these days, but it won't be that super and I like that big of a blow. But bottom line is we don't have so many 1 toughness creatures anymore. We got to play around the Plague Engineer, the Lava Darts, the Walking Ballistas. There's just no way around it. All right. Are these all rare? But you know what? I promise you, Maelstrom, some of these are not going to jump up to $1 million.
Yeah, not gonna lie. They made the announcement about the names, and I expected Lorehold to be the blue red one, not Boros. I really did.
Silver Quill Command, 4 mana, choose 2. Target creature gets +3/+3 and gains flying until end of turn. Not too bad, but not great. Return target creature card with convert mana value. Man, that's going to be hard to change. I'm doing it by instinct, calling it converted mana cost. Creature with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. So you can do 2. Target player draws a card and lose 1. So you can draw a card and make your opponent sack a creature, or you can bring something back from the graveyard and make your opponent sacrifice a creature. I think it's a bit clunky. And it's sorcery. Are these all sorcery, or some of them are instant? I think some of them are instant.
The Orzhov and the Golgari are sorcery. Everything else is instant. My personal opinion of this card, Silver Quill, immediately obviously makes me think Silvergill, so I'm kind of sad about its Orzhov. But but the returning something and the sacking something are really the uses that I see. You could draw a card, but I don't know. I think this is going to remain budget.
I think on an empty board, drawing a card is not bad. It'll be like Cryptic Command, make your opponent sacrifice a creature, draw a card, but at the cost of a life.
Yeah, but what are you competing with for the 4-drop spot in Modern?
Oh, this thing is not competing. This is obviously like a little bit too expensive. Probably. I mean, unless somehow an Esper control deck wants to play this card. But even then, like it's like a control deck. Not even a control deck really wants this card because you need to have enough creature cards in your deck. I mean, maybe you can bring back a Snapcaster Mage from your graveyard, which is like a typical target. But the whole +3/+3 and flying until end of turn doesn't really matter. Zeagle asks, how are white cards always double the cost of usual spells? The non-white commands cost 2 to 3 CMC. White's cost is 4. I have no idea. No, they're preparing for white to be overpowered in the future. They are preparing. I'm a little fearful of what white is going to get in the future. Not going to lie. Quandrix Command. Today I learned that Quandrix is a word. Blue, green, and a generic instant. Return target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Not very impressive in my opinion, but we get to choose 2. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. So that could be a beating. A counter spell in addition to bouncing something at the same time. Put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature. That might be okay at like defending yourself against lightning bolt and stuff like that. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from their graveyard into their library. That seems pretty poor in the grand scheme of things. Maybe it can interact with a graveyard strategy deck, but like at 3 mana, this is already pretty slow. They might have already comboed off by the time that they want to do something. You have any thoughts?
I don't know. I want to like it. I really do. But just all the 4 things, the 4 different options, I don't know. It just feels like they don't exactly line up together.
You know what? My thoughts and feelings are identical with you. You know, I look at Simic. I think this can be adopted in a Merfolk deck. What can we do with this? And I don't know if it's good enough. I really don't know if it's good enough. Counter target artifact or enchantment spell. Maybe that will be a relevant mode.
Yeah.
I'd be so afraid. Okay, let's say someone bolts my Merfolk and I want to put 2 counters on it. How can I use any of these other modes at the same time? Like one of these modes would be dead. I would have to be really lucky to use another one of these modes at the same time.
I guess try to bounce one of their creatures, but they'll just replay it.
Yeah, either that or they don't even have creatures in play. That's the problem. So anyway, interesting card. Hard to use both modes at the same time. Those are not those 3 cards are not masterpieces. There will be more cards revealed later. There will be 1 in each pack, more in collector boosters replacing a regular card of the same rarity. Okay, so what you're telling me is that the Japanese cards are what's it called? Not masterpieces. These are the masterpieces, or are none of these masterpieces? I'm not sure what I heard. Masterpieces are coming back. I'm just not sure which of these things are masterpieces. Emin loves the Simic one for Commander. Didn't think about them for Modern. Well, I gotta think, how are we gonna use these cards in Modern? We love Modern around here. We love Modern.
I really like the last option on Quandrix, except I really want, like, it just can't compete with Gaia's Blessing when I'm trying to play something like that. Because Gaia's Blessing can get milled.
That's right. Let's see. Yeah, Gaia's Blessing is the ultimate counter card to mill.
And it's budget.
It's good. It's cheap. Because you only need like 1 in your deck. Papa Joe asked, don't you usually side out Vials in attrition matches anyway? Yep, that's right. So it's not as big of a beating when or if it happens. Torborg says, if they print pushed modal face cards, modal double face cards with a cheap spell back half and a permanent front half for spell shift, I'm going to lose my mind. Surely the Harry Potter set might do that. You never know. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so let's look at, well, we looked at 3 of them so far. So now we've got Prismari Command. Blue, red, generic. Choose 2. Prismari Command deals 2 damage to any target. Target player draws 2 cards and discards 2 cards. And then target player creates a treasure token or destroy target artifact. I think this is the closest we've got to... I think this is the strong... Well, I don't know if this is the strongest one. It might be competing with the Golgari one. I'm not going to underestimate like 2 mana. But hey, instant speed. This is still close to Kolaghan's Command. I can deal 2 damage to any target, and I can I can destroy an artifact. So we've got like half of Kolaghan's Command here, except more modes, right?
This one is actually very promising. It really seems... Electrolyze, don't get me wrong, I don't play Electrolyze anymore. But it seems like it's mixing Electrolyze and Is It Charm, and that's something that I'm really liking. And I think just the extra destroy target artifact that's just thrown in there, I think that just sets it a little higher in my mind.
Don't know how they'll use the treasure token, but I could see a world where Phoenix tries to use this card, and they could draw 2, discard 2, and make a treasure token to give themselves more mana so that they can play the 3rd spell to bring the Phoenixes back from their graveyard onto the battlefield. So maybe this is a card that Blue-Red Phoenix is going to want to test out this card to see if they can use it. Maybe that's going to be a thing. Actually, it was just announced that there will be extra card not replacing. There are no masterpieces. The Japanese are just ultra arts. Okay. So the concept of the masterpieces has been overstated.
So is it going to work like the list or what?
I don't know. I don't know enough about this stuff. We need the community to help us. The Japanese alt art are the same as the English versions. Ponder, Demonic Tutor, and Swords to Plowshares. There will be one in every pack, just not specifically the special art versions. The cool art is for the Japanese packs only. Interesting. The Is It one may rise, the Is It Phoenix and Pioneer, or Modern. It's absolutely possible. And oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that for Pioneer. Like, Pioneer has a lot less looting effects available. So Prismari Command actually might find a spot there as well. Because they're, you know, that Phoenix deck, they lost their Faithless looting in Modern, but they have everything else. Like, nothing went away. It's not like they didn't lose Simian Spirit Guide like the rest of the archetypes did in Modern. They're just like one card away from going back over the top and getting back in the action. Spider Monkey says, can't wait to play Prismari Command in blue-red through the Breach. Turn 4 Breach, since the ramp seems gas. That's right. Also in Jeskai, turn 4 Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Thoughts? That's a very good idea. The fact that you could ramp with this thing makes a big deal. So turn 3, deal 2 damage to a particular target, kill it, and then ramp yourself up with the treasure token, because you know you can through the Breach and Emrakul the next turn. That actually seems really good. Or even dig to your Emrakul card, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. I didn't think about that. This could be like a more of a heavy with that spells midrange sort of deck. Spells midrange for anyone who's watched the latest Nikachu's grandpa video. Anyone out there? Yeah, I know you all want careful study, but we can't all have careful study. We've got to be careful about putting careful study in Modern. It's still going to be leading to too expensive for Phoenix. Turn 3. Turn 3. What's wrong with turn 3? So you can Prismari Command, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, create a treasure token. Then you just need to play 1 cantrip off the treasure token and like a gut shot or lava dart or flashback lava dart or something like that. Boom. You got a bunch of Phoenixes. I actually think this is on curve. And is not too brutal. You know, turn 2 Phoenix is what I'm fearful of the most. Or you can go Manamorphose. What's it called? Manamorphose, Prismari Command, create the treasure token, get your last spell out. You do it easily. Easy peasy. Because you get the treasure token. By the way, people, if you don't know what treasure tokens do, they add mana. They add mana to help cast your spells, extra spells. So I actually think, now that I'm thinking more and more about it, this is Blue-Red Phoenix's card. Their only problem is it getting countered.
All you need is this card, one of your many 1-drops, and then a Phyrexian card. And then you have 3 spells right there.
Game on. Phoenix deck online is Prismari Command bringing back the Blue-Red Phoenix deck. We're going to have to wait and see. Is It Charm would do this already on turn 3, except if you don't have Manamorphose, or it wouldn't. If you just had the Phyrexian spell, you would have it, but not if you don't have a Phyrexian spell, you can't do it. Remember the treasure token. The treasure token, people. The treasure token. It deals with Cage as well. Oh God, I didn't think about that. That's pretty sick. So your opponent plays Relic of Progenitus or Grafdigger's Cage earlier on in the game, blows it up while threatening to put, because you target it with it on the stack, then they have to crack their Relic or Soul Guide Lantern or just let their Cage die, and then the Phoenixes go to the graveyard, and then it is time to bring them back. Why not Is It Charm? Well, Is It Charm is fine too. Is It Charm is fine too. Maybe we can bring both. Okay, so that is a point. So you could play Is It Charm on turn 3 and you'd have the extra mana up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Nikachu's grandpa says that there is no turn 4. That's correct. Gosh. Phoenix didn't play Is It Charm, which does a similar thing and costs 1 less. Maybe Prismari Command will be a better version of Electrolyze, or maybe a more versatile version of Is It Charm, because Is It Charm doesn't blow up artifacts. Well, wait and see. We'll see what happens. Honestly, I think also Is It Charm was underrated. I think the Phoenix deck might have had to change, especially right now. I don't even know if Thing in the Ice is all that powerful anymore as it used to be. I still think Phoenix is powerful, but I don't know about Thing in the Ice. All right, we got another command, a Lower Hold command. And I don't expect very much out of this because it's 5 mana. Choose 2. Create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain indestructible and haste until end of turn. Lower Hold command deals 3 damage to any target. Target player gain. That's interesting. Deals 3 damage to any target, and then target player gains 3 life. So you can change who gets life. This is a commander card right here, people. This is Commander RS. Sacrifice a permanent, then draw 2 cards.
I'm not a fan of this card.
You heard it from both of us instantly. Like, we think this is supreme trash. Curious, do you make any budget commander decks?
Me?
Build commander on a budget.
No, because that's actually another person's niche. That's over at Commander's Quarters, where
Hey,
for me,
plenty of room for everybody in this world.
yeah, but making budget modern is really my format. Where Commander, it would take a lot more time to hammer out each of the 100 cards.
Right. And there's like millions of budget cards.
And I like having multiples. Okay, I like having multiples.
Some of us love multiples. Have you noticed the upshift in rarity for the 3 reprints announced? What do you mean? What are the 3 reprints?
Oh, Swords is
Opt?
rare, Tutor is mythic, and Opt is an uncommon.
Oh yeah. I didn't notice it, but I mean,
I don't really mind it.
This is what they do to make money. They got to make the good cards rare. They got to make the good cards rare. Simple as that. That's how they make it. It keeps the value high, keeps the boosters selling for as much as they can gouge out of it. That's how this goes. Isn't Blue-Red Prowess just better than a clunky Blue-Red Phoenix? So here's the deal, Papa Joe. In a world where it's going to get more in a world where it's going to get more mid-rangey, Phoenix will be better because the Phoenixes have more resilience to the removal. So like you kill the Phoenixes, they come back. You got to deal with it again. Whereas with Blue-Red Prowess, they just kill the creatures and then basically the deck does nothing. So long as they can keep the creatures off the battlefield, they'll be fine. The only maybe big problem is Stormwing Entity because it might be difficult to bolt if they can keep it out of range with Prowess cards. And also it's invincible to Fatal Push. But aside from that, Blue-Red Prowess is better if you just need to be super fast. But Phoenix is better if you need to be more resilient to removal and hate. What else do we have here? By the way, now CMC is mana value and shuffle your library is now just shuffle? Really? Oh, you're right. Look at that detail right here. Right down there. Then shuffle. Okay, you know what? This is my interpretation out of this. Not only are they simplifying the cards, they're making room for more words. There's going to be cards out there in the future. They need more room to fit in more abilities. They're going to squeeze everything they can into those cards as much as possible. Then shuffle. That makes sense to me. Like, what else are you shuffling? Your hand? Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle. Actually, the way I'm interpreting this, it actually looks like you have to shuffle the card into your hand. Hopefully that's not going to be misinterpreted in any way. Oh, I think we lost you. We lost you, Maelstrom. Your audio's gone.
I accidentally muted myself.
Don't do that. Don't be accidentally muting yourself.
We don't. I don't want more subliminal epiphanies where we get a million possible choices. And if they're making room for more words, that's what's coming.
They're making room. We need more room here. Maelstrom Pulse. What is your favorite budget deck? Excellent question, Ugly Hood Rat. Excellent question. What does the budget master say? What is your favorite deck on a budget? Let's have 2 answers. Your personal favorite and the one you think is the most competitive.
Okay. My personal favorite is probably somewhere between the Aristocrats one I made and the Soul Sisters one I made. And those two, like, they're They're very sweet. Like aristocrats, you play normally, and then you just use Return to the Ranks or Rally Ancestors, bring it all back, and just sack your board again, and just probably win unless you don't. But then
That's out there for all those aristocrat fans out there. I get questions every time the metagame shakes up. Is aristocrats playable? And I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't playable before. Yeah, if you want.
I have to say, it got a really big power boost when Luris got printed.
That's right. So basically 2 CMC or less anyway.
So you can even if you don't have anything else, you can really just replay your Doom Travelers and then get the tokens back every turn. The deck also now runs Bauble because of Luris. But then the one I think is the best, probably the one of the Prowess or Burn decks I made, or Hammer Time.
Right. They're just brute force powerful, and not to mention, I mean, like they've still got, especially when you look at Burn, it has usually most of the cards you need in the deck anyway. You're just missing, like, I mean, I'm assuming was mono red.
Yeah, I made actually 2 Burn decks. I made a traditional Burn deck where it played a lot more bolts and traditional Burn creatures. And then I made one that played Chandra's Incinerator.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so you could just get a really early Chandra's Incinerator.
We've seen me get crushed by this card many times on stream up to this point.
Honestly, if you're gonna play like a Burn variant right now in the meta, I really want to suggest the Incinerator one, because with all the creature decks, like when a meta gets shooken up, it's really the aggro and really fast creature decks that kind of dominate for a while.
Yeah.
And if you're able to burn your opponent and then with Incinerator also burn their board, you're getting a lot of good value.
Absolutely. Andre Segara says they're making room on the cards for that Questing Beast remake. That's right. We're going to see a Questing Beast version 2 coming up. Antonin says, what if you, instead of shuffling your deck, you shuffle Dance? Oh, you shuffle your opponent's deck, you shuffle your hand? Huh? You shuffle Dance. You shuffle your opponent's deck, and you shuffle your hand. I don't get it. I'm missing something here. It's probably to save a few cents on ink. I think the black ink is oh no, I guess it's all printed separately. Yeah, I'm gonna save that money on the ink. Some actuarian looked at the financials for Wizards of the Coast. You know, if we have this sentence a little bit less long, we're gonna save an extra $100,000 a year on printing expenses. Oh, the special reprints are legal in draft. Absolutely, it's always been like that. Like masterpiece like cards, specialty cards have always been legal in draft. I've seen Wrath of God was played in, like we got some really funny situations during the masterpiece era because of at the Pro Tour, like people had mana vaults and crap like that opposition because it was legal at the Pro Tour. Neat stuff. It was like playing Cube.
Yeah, back in Kaladesh, I actually had my little brother holds this to me this day because he says I made him switch spots with me. But I opened up a foil Chandra, Torch of Defiance, and then a Sword of Light and Shadow. And and so of course he was like, no, that was my spot. But that,
oh yeah, I get it. If he sat there, then he would have got the Chandra and the sword.
Right. And so that I did really well, obviously, in that event. But it was kind of funny.
Oh, the Maelstrom, the masterpieces create some feel bad moments for people. Oh no. What's this? This is a ridiculous solution. Just make the cards long instead of simplifying the words. Yeah, and then some cards would be longer than others in the 60 or 60 card deck. How do you? Oh, this is a great question. How do you do budget control?
Okay, so
this is a really common question I get, to be honest.
Yeah, this is something that I don't see a lot of at all. So I actually have, I want to say, yeah, I have 3 budget control decks on my channel currently. I have Tron, which I would classify Tron as a control deck. Even if you're playing big creature Tron, it's still a control deck.
Right.
So I have a mono blue Tron, which is even more control. I have Lantern control, and then I have like what you would probably think of when you think of control, which is like I do have a blue black control deck. So that one is
I got it here. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one I actually, yeah, there we go. That one I had to change what we were gonna win with. I really had to change it because we couldn't win with traditional control things like I made this while Uro was still in Modern.
Okay.
We couldn't win with things like Uro. We couldn't win with things like Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage would, because quite often you could just play a Snapcaster Mage and swing in because you've already controlled their board. So the way you can win with this deck, I might have modified it post Uro band. Like I might choose to do that still, but I chose to go with blue black because you can play with a lot of the lands still being budget.
Yep.
Because this one actually runs Sanctuary, which I had to
now.
Yeah, so I might suggest replace it with islands or even Castle Vantresses. But this kind of a deck, you still run your discard spells, you still run your removal, and you still have room for that one cryptic command. Mana Leak and Archmage's Charm do wonders.
Okay.
So you can, and then the winning with Snapcaster Mage, you can just do through Creeping Tar Pit. And I'd say arguably more consistently.
So basically, you have to lock your opponent out to the point they have nothing left. You'll know when you see their hand.
Right. You can
Inquisition and you get in with those Creeping Tar Pits.
Right.
I swear I've lost to this deck before in Modern. Like, I was up against a blue-black control deck, and I was waiting to see what they were going to kill me with, but it never got played, and then eventually they start swinging with Creeping Tar Pits, and then I died.
Yeah.
And then I just died. So anyway, so there is a way of playing an actual blue deck with counter spells, with removal, on a budget. Here it is, $98 or 37 ticks. I mean, this is... Maelstrom MTG is where you want to be if you want to get the most out of your like lowest tier mana traders account. The $10 for 100 ticks account. You'll get the best out of all of his decks. I'll pass it on. I don't have any Mutavaults and currently run Fairy Conclave as a budget replacement in Mono Blue Merfolk. Should I switch to Faceless Haven? Nope. Because Faceless Haven is like way too... It's actually really expensive. Faceless Haven.
So I have a few problems with Faceless Haven. Obviously, you have to pay that 3.
Yeah.
But also, in Mono Blue, you do... Like, if you're not having Mutavault, Fairy Conclave at least adds blue. Like, it specifically adds blue, where this is colorless.
Oh, you know what? I could see one situation where maybe you want Faceless Haven. And that is if you are, like, really, really budget. Like, how much is this? This is, like... It's actually 50 cents. But you need to buy all the... snowlands. So let's say you're so budget, you don't have... you don't have any cavernous souls, you have no non-basics, like no horizon lands. Then if your deck is just snow lands and no vials and some Faithless Havens, like you have a 23 land deck, 3 Faithless Haven, 19 lands, I could see that as possible. But the problem is you genuinely need almost your entire deck to be snow lands in order to activate this. It's just so hard. And honestly, it's a bit clunky, but compared to Fairy Conclave is also sort of clunky because it's cost 2 mana to activate. But you definitely don't want to have any other utility lands if you're running this thing, or very, very few, because this three snow is a lot, and basically you have to be guaranteed to have it on turn 4, or the card's pointless. I didn't think about that. I got to keep this in mind for my budget Merfolk decks. Because it's still 4/3 creature, nothing to laugh at. But how much is a snow-covered island?
Last time I checked, it was like 54 cents.
Oof. All of a sudden, this deck is not so budget because you need like 19 of these. It's gonna add like what's 19 times 63 cents? I'm gonna do the math here, people. Times 19. It's gonna add $12. $12 to your budget to own these snow-covered lands. $12. I don't know. Is that worth it? What do you think?
I'd say no, not for basic lands. I hardly ever put snow-covered lands into the budget decks because any extra cash, like I usually devote probably about $10-15 to the sideboard. So that almost takes up the entire budget of what I would put into the sideboard.
Right. What are some really big money savers for staples? Let's hear this. Top 5 budget replacements for Modern.
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Oh my gosh.
It's what you're on here for.
Yeah. I'd say okay, it's not a big money gap, but I really liked buying the monster. I really like it. I think it's really undervalued. For a playset, it's set. What compared to things like Dismember or even I even considered
money.
Yeah, I even considered tossing this into control lists just because like they might not be able to run things like actual removal. It lets you play around with what you want to do with your deck more. It gives you viable removal.
Actually, Dismember went down in value, but it used to be $5. Like I know it used to be like good money, but still, like if you have a playset of Dismember, that's $8. This is if you have a playset of this is 24 cents. So that shaves a lot of money. And I actually, now that I think about it, I didn't think about it before. This is a great budget replacement for a Death Shadow deck if you really need to save money playing Death Shadow.
Yeah, and it still loses you that life. Heck, in some circumstances, if you're in a mirror match, it could really catch you up. If you could just be like, you're losing 4 life for 1 mana, I'll lose 10. Now that's probably a big one. Another one which is very situational is like Force of Negation is really big, really expensive.
Yes.
And so Disrupting Shoal is one I really like, but also is very situational. Again, like I said, with the discard spells, you have to decide, what am I trying to counter? Am I trying to counter a Tibble's Trickery, which is currently, well, no longer legal, but am I trying to counter a Tibble's Trickery? And if so, do I run a lot of 2-drops like you would in Merfolk? Right. Then I might consider Disrupting Shoal.
Look at that, 50 cents compared to $50. It might be more than that now.
Right, and if you're trying to counter something like you're not exactly sure, but your mana cost is all over the place, you really might just go for like a Mana Leak or a Spell Pierce. Like those really do the job. Yeah,
it's like Mana Leak, Spell Pierce.
Mana Leak is one of my favorite cards. Like it's just it's like in modern it says counter target spell.
Basically. Unless you're up against Tron, then you got to hope that it connects.
Unless you're against Tron.
But outside of that, yeah, these cards do the job, and they're very cheap and very effective. I think I love my Force Negations, but I do think that they are overrated. And if you really need to save money, there are alternatives. What else do you got for us? Do you have anything for like the Jund fam? A lot of people say Jund is impossible to build on a budget.
Actually, for Jund especially is what I was about to say, the third one, and then you said Jund, and I was like, yeah, actually that works perfectly. Because Jund, as opposed to Rakdos, Jund cannot really play Blood Moon. Because it's really hard to play those 3 colors and still have Blood Moon be like one-sided. So a lot of what you could do is, if you're trying to cut
on a budget.
Yeah, especially on budget. If you're trying to cut down on Jund's mana cost, just money cost, I guess. If you're trying to cut down on the cost, then you're going to be cutting down the fetch lands anyway. If you're playing on a budget, you're not playing fetch lands. You have to make that. You have to understand that unless you already own them. But if you're doing that, then you're only having basically mana producing lands anyway. So a big one you could do is replace Blood Moon with Blood Sun or Alpine Moon. I really like both of those cards, and they don't deal with Tron, but it still is a very good card, especially with all the fetch lands that people who aren't playing budget do play. And so you will see this in a few of my deck lists, I believe. Nope, it is not in that deck. Never mind. I was just going to say, oh, it's in this deck, and then it wasn't. But Blood Sun is very, very nice, especially since it also draws you that card. And so if you're trying to play it in
it's free value.
Yeah,
it can't go wrong there.
Yeah, so it's essentially Blood Moon for a lot of what you'll use it for, and then it also draws you a card.
Absolutely. Let's see, what do we have? What else do we have here? Link to this channel. You can find Maelstrom MTG by following. Like, I have all this information in the description below. Should be able to find it under the link to my Discord. Find everything by Maelstrom MTG, his YouTube channel, and his Twitter if you want to follow him. And subscribe for more all that juicy. I mean, he's got a library. Like, what happened is he wanted to be on the show, and I said, you got to have more budget videos. Said, at least make 20 more. He made like 20 more in 20 days. I mean, he went on the huge grind to binge all this stuff on here. And this is amazing. I looked at these. They're great deck techs. They're clean and clear and simple. And he's bringing the cost of these decks down in a big way. So there's a huge library ready for everybody, for like a deck for every single type of person. I've only basically made mostly budget decks for merfolk, sometimes outside of that. But like this, you got like all variations of decks here for everyone.
Yeah. I also, fair warning, if you're watching this, I am very cringy in some of those videos. It really goes between when I record, I don't like, I'm starting off, right? Like you said, it's basically my debut. And so it's either, it really feels like, because I'm just talking to a wall. So it really
I've been talking to the wall my entire life.
Yeah, but it feels like I'm either really excited, like way too excited, or doing some kind of like failing at ASMR. So there's no in between for me. So like going in, it's probably not as cringy as I think it is, but there might be some.
Oh, you did great. You did great. Like, my first Grandpa Nikachu was a bit cringy, and, you know, I'm going to get better really quickly. It's got to start somewhere. Zachary, as a Merfolk tribal player, how do you feel moving towards a more mid-range, high removal meta? I actually like this idea. I don't mind. If I don't have to be super fast, I don't mind going mid-rangey. So long as I'm not running into too many super creature-based decks, because, and I'm talking like spirits and humans. If I'm running into mostly humans and spirits, I prefer to try to race them. I think taking a more slower approach is just going to get my head kicked in, because they're just going to be on the initiative more often. I'm going to be playing from behind. I've never had success with a more mid-range deck versus stuff like humans and spirits. But outside of that, I have no problem with taking the Merfolk deck more mid-range if that's what's necessary.
I mean, Emayashi lowered the creature count and just added more removal, and he did really well.
I mean, he's been doing that for years.
Yeah,
that's his style. He's rarely played with a lot of creatures. 16 Merfolk is his jam. Lord of Atlantis, Master of the Pearl Trident, Silver Gill Adept, and Merfolk Trickster, and who cares what the rest of the cards are. Samsard, any suggestions for a mid-range combo deck? I think the most mid-range, if I understand your idea of mid-range combo, would be basically like a Bring to Light Scapeshift, I think is the most common, like, sort of slow combo deck where they just try to make either that or Titan Shift. And maybe Titan Shift is coming back. I didn't think Titan Shift could compete because Amulet just looks like a better version. But some people are trying out Titan Shift because everyone's trying to try out the old stuff. Everyone's trying to try. Okay, well, it was good 2 years ago. Is it good today? A lot of people are trying out their old decks, and Titan Shift had some success, and we're going to see some Titan Shift results. But I think the most mid-range combo decks are those sort of old Scape Shift decks.
You're only going 2 years back. I went all the way to 2016 for that Lantern Control video.
We're going all the way back for Lantern
all the way
Control.
back. We're controlling you through what's on your board, what's being cast, what's in your hand, and what's on your library.
Like, let's take a look at this for a second. Like,
oh no.
So like the most expensive pieces out of Lantern Control I remember were what's it called? Like Mox Opal, maybe Ensnaring Bridge at the time. So how do we lock people out now? How do we prevent people from attacking?
So the deck actually still runs.
We have a
bridge,
okay. And we're blowing the whole fucking budget on. Oh no, it's not that expensive. It's
no,
$16.
It's not. I have a few lists in queue, so I'm trying to remember what I've posted. I have a wall list, I think, and I think I basically blow the budget on 3 Ensnaring Bridge. But it's a really good card in that deck, and all the other walls are like 2 cents, so like I'll go for it. But this deck, I would
99% of the budget is blown on Ensnaring Bridge, 1% on the other 70.
The good news is that if you don't continue to play walls, at least you have Ensnaring Bridge. But for this deck, I would not even have attempted it if War of Invention was not a thing. War of Invention lets you go grab that Ensnaring Bridge.
Gives you extra if anyone can see this, I know it's a bit small because I'm just grabbing from his YouTube channel. The for War of Invention basically gives you extra copies at a very much cheaper rate. And also might even cast it and play a lot easier because you can play it at instant speed.
I really wanted to fit a Luris into this deck. I really just wanted shove Luris in here, but Ensnaring Bridge is just really powerful. Witchbane Orb you could probably go without, but you still really want. And in the main deck, I wouldn't take out any of those other spells. It's just Luris seems like it would be really good in this.
Link to Maelstrom's channel. It should be in the description. Can people find it in the description? I hope people can find it.
I'm getting a few notifications about subscribers, so.
Oh, yeah, it's working. Oh God, I'm getting hold on, give me a second. Why don't you just talk more about? Here, I'm gonna give you the channel.
Oh no, putting me on the spot.
Here you go. You can do it.
No, it's my ugly mug. About my channel. So basically, I messaged Nikachu saying like a few months ago, saying like, oh, how could I improve my channel? And I was like, hey. Later, I was like, hey, do you want, like, would I be able to come onto the show? And he said, make at least 20 videos. So that weekend, I actually made 20 videos. I actually had all the deck lists. I tested them out. I just needed to make videos on them. And so I kind of grinded it out. I made those videos over the weekend, but before I came on, I wanted to just keep making them, obviously. And I plan on continuing. But I really wanted to be able to just really be able to answer questions people had. But yeah, my channel's pretty new. There's not much to talk about. I was just left by Nikachu forever. I think he has 1 toughness, and I think he definitely got lava darted just now. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe I go and look at the chat. But you make playing videos too. The playing videos, I don't have a lot of actual gameplay. And so I'd like to transition into a lot more gameplay so I don't have to make a deck every day. But I don't actually have a Magic Online right now. And so I don't know if I want to record using Untap. So for now, I'm just making decks and I'm doing deck techs. But I'm just gonna be making these. I'm just gonna be making these videos for now. Hopefully, I can transition into some gameplay. And we have Nikachu back.
I'm back.
I'm no
Amazon called
anymore.
I'm sure you held everything down. Maelstrom didn't get my channel canceled, did he? I'm sure he did a great job. All right. Okay, so what do we got here? What else we have? Creamy Tar Pit is actually amazing. Oh my god, I must be really late. I'm lagging on the questions. But you make playing videos too, since I can't see you playing? Oh, you mean gameplay videos?
Yeah, I have like one gameplay video and it's me doing limited and then showing everybody how much I suck at limited. Which is
limited content is a tough one, you know. And I will also say I've done some limited content and people just like to watch the draft and then they don't even watch the gameplay. But there's got to be some market out there for just drafting decks and then showing nothing and just showing the record at the end of it. All right, we draft the deck. Okay, I went 2-1. It was a great deck. It was a great deck, and you don't show any gameplay at all. But yeah, what are your thoughts on it?
So I don't know. It's just I'm trying certain things out over the weekend. My weekdays are actually deck techs, and I'm like, you know what? I'll give my brain a little bit of a break over the weekend, but I still want to do some sort of Magic related video over the weekends. And for gameplay, I don't actually have Magic Online, and I really want to get into Magic Online. But as a unemployed broke college student,
hey, gotta do what you can. Gotta do on the grind.
You know what? I don't have that excuse because my channel is about playing on a budget.
Exactly. And in your case, as much for free as possible. Michael Bell, why no Karn the Great Creator in the Lantern deck for Bridge?
So I actually really considered that. And if you're playing off a budget, yes, go for it. But Karn's not a budget card.
There you go. That's your answer right there.
That's straight up.
Karn is not free. That is not expensive. And sorry, it's not cheap. What is Karn right now? Karn. Great creator. Not that Scryfall has the best pricing, but well, you can get as cheap as $7, which is not too bad. That's true.
Yes, but if you want 4 of those and then an ensnaring bridge.
That's right. Yeah, you need like 4 of them. I guess you need a budget toolbox deck. No bridge. No bridge allowed. All right. Oh, Benjamin, thanks for the $2 with the super chat. Can we get a Grandma Nikachu stream? No, I don't think so. I'm not going to be cosplaying as Grandma anytime soon. Or did you misspoke and you meant Grandpa Nikachu stream? Because I heard a lot of people ask for that. Where's this? Let's get a Grandpa stream going. That might be possible under some rare circumstance. Maybe I could make that happen. All right, you know what time it is, everyone. It's time for deck list review time. So in the description, there is a link to my Discord. Submit your deck lists there. Where's my Discord? There is a channel called Deck List Review. And at Deck List Review, use the command !review deck space, give the URL to your deck list, and it will be eligible at random to be chosen for Deck List Review. Now, for anyone, again, not everyone's here for Deck List Review. So again, if you want to follow Maelstrom MTG and get a variety of budget decks available to play in Modern, you can follow him in the description below as well. I have links to both his channel and his Twitter. This is the place where he's going to be grinding and showing off many different variations of budget decks, and they all are very I've gone through a lot of these videos. They're very clean lists. So if you want to play on a budget, I think this is the best way to. This is going to be a wealth of different decks that you can try out, and maybe you should have a guide on how to play like on the free sites. I don't think there's much information on that.
Yeah, I was considering, because my last weekend videos were playing on a draft, and then also like different options for budget lands.
Yep.
And then this weekend, like, I don't know. I haven't really made a plan. We're playing it by ear. But I
totally
definitely
fine.
have a plan to say, oh, these are ways you can get into Magic for free, or like, hey, this is how you can play online for free.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So at the very least, if you have to pay money, it's going to be on a budget. Maelstrom MTG is your person. Great stuff. Okay, so Fraser Trotter with the super chat. What do you recommend doing to play Magic the Gathering online if I have a Mac? Download a virtual machine? Thanks. That is exactly what I did, Fraser. I had to so if you want to play on Magic the Gathering online, I downloaded something called Parallels Desktop. Shit, I'm affiliated with them, but I never ended up making a video about this. Maybe I should do that. Gotta get off my ass. Here we go. Run Parallels. So you go to parallels.com, and this is, so you have two options. You can pay for it, or there is a free one called VirtualBox. I've used both. VirtualBox, virtual machine. I will say easily, VirtualBox sucks. It is a pile of shit. It will be very buggy and annoying, and compounding that with Magic the Gathering Online, that is a fucking disaster. You don't want that. But if you don't want to spend any money, it will work. Like it will work. It will be clunky. It will be buggy. You'll have trouble finding answers to your problems. But it will work. What else can I say? But Parallels is amazing. This is a very, very, very good product. It's seamless. It allocates the exact amount of RAM pending your computer. Now, I will say this. If you have 5 gigabytes of RAM on your computer, this will be pretty laggy, and you might be better off using Boot Camp, because you could do that as well. Run Boot Camp on your computer to make use of the full use of your RAM. But if you have 8, not 5, 4, if you have 8 gigabytes of RAM, you should be fine. So 8 gigabytes of RAM is good. 16 is perfect. 8 gigabytes is fine. If you ever intend on doing content creation, 8 won't be enough. You would need 16. So just letting you know, because I have experience here. I have a lot of experience. Just recently, this last year, I moved to a dedicated Windows streaming machine. But aside from that, I've been virtual machining it the entire time with Parallels. So I'm very satisfied with this product. It's so good because it just manages the resources between your MacBook and the Windows computer, because it's trying to run 2 operating systems at the same time. I should make a video on this because I do know a lot about it, and I'm sure there's a lot of Mac users out there suffering because Wizards won't make a Mac version of Magic the Gathering Online. What is wrong with you guys, Wizards? And they had the opportunity to, just like they're doing it with Arena right now. They just ignored the Mac users. The ones with the money did not cater to the people with the money, which is important if you are running a business and you want money from people. All right, let's go random. What we got? Ire. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Decklist review, and maybe see what we got here. Need help from everyone here. Everyone chip in. All right, we've got Elf Tokens and Taxes. Now that is a name I have. It's not that I haven't heard it in a long time. It's just that I've never heard it at all. Okay, we got Elvish Mystic. Is this a budget deck? Looks like a budget deck. Looks like this could be within your wheelhouse here, Maelstrom. So Elvish Mystic, Essence Warden, Heritage Druid, Bramblewood Paragon, Elvish War Master. I should read with some of these cards. This is the gain a life creature. This is the add 3 mana, and this is put counters on your warriors. This is not a warrior. This is not a warrior. This is not a warrior either. This is not looking good for Bramblewood Paragon. This is a warrior. Elvish War Master. There's the battlefield under your control. Create a 1/1. Oh yeah, this is. I really like this card actually. I think this is a great win condition. Because like it gives you value in the early game, but if you have a billion mana at the late game, you can basically pump up your entire board and win. Safehold Elite, 2/2 with Persist. Poison Tip Archer, reach, death touch. Whenever another creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Interesting. Whenever another creature dies, each opponent. So including your opponent's creatures as well. So that's where the Village Rites comes in. You can like sacrifice your own creatures, draw cards, and maybe deal damage with Poison Tip Archer. Collected Company. Okay, now, okay, I'll have something to say about this in a second, but this may not be the best Collected Company deck. Shaper Sanctuary, Prowess of the Fair, and okay, what is this? Whenever another non-token elf. Oh, it's not a creature card. Yeah. Prowess of the Fair. Whenever a non-token elf is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Okay, that's interesting. So they replace each other. And Bastion of Remembrance. Enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life and you gain 1 life. So this almost feels very aristocrat-like, in my opinion. Okay, I have some thoughts. First off, this is not a good Collected Company deck. It's a very poor one because you can't get the Poison Tip Archer. You need 27 creatures, 27 Collected Company targets for Collected Company to work. So you are short on 4 creatures. You are short on 4 creatures here. Because you can't get the Poison Tip Archer. So in essence, you have 23 creatures, which makes Collected Company very clunky. So you got to switch up one of these enchantments for creatures. Maybe it's some Shaper Sanctuary, and maybe it's Bastion of Remembrance, because this is not... I like Prowess of the Fair, sort of. Maybe this is just better off. Actually, maybe this is just better off as a creature, because this makes a creature at the very least. But this one does not. What are your thoughts so far, Maelstrom?
I want to say that, first off, very interesting death triggers on this. I do like aristocrat-themed decks, even if they're not straight aristocrats. But I do have to say, though, I really want Bastion of Remembrance. What's the 2-drop from Kaldheim, the Elf Warrior, with death triggers?
What's the Kaldheim creature with death triggers? That's why we got the hive mind here. We've got the hive mind of people. What about Pyre of Heroes? It's mana intensive. You gotta have 4 Shaman of the Pact. It's possible.
That was my second thing. Is I like the idea of Poison Tip, and it goes with the theme of the deck. But I really just want to say you'll just get more value out of a Shaman, and Shaman's able to be hit by Collected Company. If you do that, you are steering towards probably what one would assume a green-black elf deck would look like, but it would still probably be better because you can hit it off of Company.
Ever a non-token elf or berserker you control dies, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Yeah, okay, that might be better.
I would play that over Bastion.
Oh, the Bastion of Remembrance.
Yeah, it does the same thing except not the token. Prowess of the Fair is at least a 1-drop. I guess
I think the idea with Bastion is they're trying to dome their opponent, because this one doesn't draw cards or anything like that. This is like you lose a life, gain a life sort of deal.
Oh, Skemfar doesn't care about your opponent, does it? Dang.
Whenever no, but it's okay. I think I like this card over the Prowess of the Fair, because you're still replacing something, and because I think that's the idea with Prowess of the Fair. If something dies, you get an elf. Whereas with Skemfar, okay, if something dies, you still get some value. And this thing is a pretty big creature in itself. I don't mind trying to squeeze in the... what's it called? I don't know how many, but you're getting in that... well, maybe... I don't know if Bramblewood Paragon is so good. Is this a soldier? It's an elf berserker. Problem with Bramblewood Paragon is there's not that many warriors. This is a scout. Yeah, let's screw the Bramblewood Paragon. Each creature... I mean, it gives some creatures trample, but for the most part, you don't have any synergy for the warriors in this deck. So you have to remove Bramblewood Paragon and maybe replace it with what everyone's suggesting. What's it called?
Shaman of the Pact?
Shaman of the Pact. Shaman of the Pact. That's probably where you want to go. Any description? No description, but we have Blooming Marsh, Forest, Gilt-Leaf Palace, Overgrown Tomb Swamp. What do you think of this mana base? Do we have enough black sources? 1, 2... we have 10 black sources, and Village Rites requires mana. But maybe you're playing this late in the game anyway.
Now, if you watch my videos, I constantly advocate for these. I'm a huge fan of pathway lands, especially if you're trying to play on a budget, because almost all of them you can get a play set for between $10 to $16.
What is the the Golgari
That one
Golgari one off by head on by hand? All right, Hive Mind, help us. What's the Golgari pathway?
Dark Boar.
Huh?
Dark Boar.
Dark Boar pathway. There you go. It's maybe well, this one's the popular one, unfortunately.
Yeah,
It's gonna cost
sadly.
some money, but we're not going to run too many of them in this deck, and I think we should screw Fearing Blood Moon. Just go with as many black sources as possible, because we are going to need them for the village rights and potentially the poison tip archer later in the game. But sweet deck. Hopefully that was some good. Oh yeah, Dwin's Elite. So Dwin's Elite also could be much better than Bramblewood Paragon. And it would like maybe pair very well with Elvish Master. You can make a lot of tokens between Elvish Master and the Dwin's Elite. Yeah, I could see that too as well.
It's funny, we're taking out the warrior tribal card for another warrior that on ETB makes a warrior.
But I think we really want to keep Elvish Mystic Heritage Druid. I don't know about Essence Warden, but we are going to lose some life.
Actually, I do have one more suggestion for this deck, actually.
What do you got?
What you could easily do is you could also run a few copies of Elves of Deep Shadow, and that's a green elf that produces black mana.
What's it called? Oh yeah, Elves
of Deep Shadow.
Of Deep Shadow. I think you deal damage to yourself though. But
you do, but it's still
fixer.
black mana.
And it's still modern. There you go. Modern legal. So Elves of Deep Shadow, actually great mana fixer. This is perfect. Elves of Deep Shadow deals 1 damage to you. And you have a lot of like colorless to cast, well, we're going to replace Bramblewood Paragon with Dwin's Elite, but Dwin's Elite uses a colorless, Elvish War Master colorless, safe hold Elite, and then of course you need the black for this and village rights. You probably just sack the stupid creature to village rights if you have to. Jared loves Elves of the Deep Shadow. All right, thank you very much for submitting the list. It was a great list. Hope that was some valuable feedback. I got a question about parallels again. And if you want, you probably DM me about parallels. I could probably help you over DMs. You just got to catch me somewhere, Fraser. Sorry, I'm new to this, but how much available gigabytes do I need to run parallels or boot camp successfully? I mean, if you have 4 gigabytes on your MacBook, I think that's very low. But so I would definitely not run Parallels or any virtual machine with 4 gigabytes, because Magic the Gathering Online is like really resource intensive. So I would definitely go the bootcamp route in that case. If you have 8 gigabytes or more, I think that's where you can start using Parallels. You might feel like it's a little bit laggy, but it'll be okay. It'll be more than playable. It will work fine. It's just that at 8 gigabytes, if you want to stream or do any content creation, which was from my perspective, you're going to need even more gigabytes. Like you need like more RAM. This content creation, that's what the RAM is for. It's not for many things except making videos and streaming and stuff like that. So at that point, you need like 16 gigabytes of RAM. But I think at 8 is a good benchmark for running Magic the Gathering Online with a virtual machine, and it will be fine. Like what else? Let's go. Let's do another. Ellipsis. Sultai Pilipala. Are you familiar with the Pilipala deck?
Yes, I'm
good because I'm not.
So the Pilipala deck is, I believe, I always mix up. I believe it's called Grand Architect.
Yep.
Yes, it is. Grand Architect makes Pilipala blue, and then you tap Pilipala and then untap with the 2 mana you produced with Grand Architect, and you get infinite colored mana.
There we go.
So this deck looks like it's kind of like Devoted Druid, but just subbing out that combo for Pilipala.
Devoted, I guess blue Devoted Druid. So we make infinite mana. I guess they're gonna try to draw their entire deck because we've got a single Thassa's Oracle here, a single Spectral Sailor. So I guess also with infinite mana, you have infinite card draw again. Birds of Paradise, Walking. Well, this is a very odd thing, so we better make some really good use out of this green. But maybe you need the green for the creature tutors out of Finale of Devastation. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so you have another combo with Walking Ballista. Got infinite mana, infinite Walking Ballista. Birds of Paradise, Spectral Sailor, Pillapala. So what Pillapala is, 2 generic, 1/1 creature, flying. It's like Pure Steel Paladin, where you get to untap it and you get an effect. So it has 2 generic, you can untap it and add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Well, what do you know? Grand Architect has this really neat ability: tap and untap blue creature you control, add double generic, spend this mana only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. But here's the deal: you can spend a blue mana to give target artifact creature becomes blue until end of turn. So you make Pillapala blue. Great. Then you tap Pillapala, which you can tap as a blue creature, add the 2 generic, then untap Pillapala, get a blue mana. So this blue mana we'll put here. Then you can tap Pillapala for 2 generic, untap with tap for 2 generic with Grand Architect, untap it to get another blue, and then you just do this for infinite blue mana. And I'm guessing we are using that infinite mana to draw our deck and play Thassa's Oracle or get infinite mana for Walking Ballista. So what else was in this deck? Fatal Push. This is a very unique deck, I should say. Super unique.
I'm just looking at the list.
That's okay. Fatal Push, Inquisition of Kozilek, Serum Vision, Sleight of Hand, 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Abrupt Decay, 1 Assassin's Trophy, 4 Finale of Devastation, and we've got 3 Breeding Pool, 2 Forests, Island, 4 Misty Rainforest, 2 Nurturing Peatland, 2 Overgrown Tomb, 2 Polluted Delta, 1 Swamp, 2 Waterlogged Grove, 2 Watery Grave, 2 Veil of Summer, Phyrexian Revokers, 2 Spellskite, 3 Mystical Dispute, 3 Leyline of Sanctity, 2 Ravenous Trap, and 1 Carnage Tyrant. I'm wondering, is there any way of making this deck without the green splash to search for creatures? Like, is there any way of doing this? Maybe there isn't.
What you
it's so
could
hard
do,
to find Grand Thar, huh?
What you could do is you could play it a bit like you could take out the green. It would get rid of like finales. You would probably get less consistent, but you could try for a more like a slower version of the deck. Try to add in a few counter spells, maybe a way to make it more control-y, and then use a way to like up the Spectral Sailors for sure, and just rely on more on the drawing cards from Sailor.
Yeah, but it would make it. I'm guessing the only reason we have Finale of Devastation is literally to find your Grand Architect, because in blue and black that's like near damn impossible.
Well, also with Finale, if it's 10 or more, they get +X and trample. So right there is a win condition.
Yeah, if you have the Pillapala Grand Architect combo. Got more combos here. I'm just looking to see if there's any way to like make it less than, I mean, we'll give feedback for 3 colors, but whenever it's 3 colors and it doesn't involve red, you're always weak to Blood Moon. Blood Moon is always a problem. James Krasinski says, Craterhoof, Craterhoof, we've got enough win conditions. These aren't enough win conditions for you. Finale of Devastation isn't enough. Walking Ballista isn't enough. Thassa's, we need more win conditions. I think it's just a little bit much. That's all.
Yeah. Craterhoof would be a little extra, and it like if you want to have a card in this deck that will add to it to improve it, Craterhoof's not going to do that. It's only going to be good if you're already winning.
I think the Sleight of Hand is out of. I don't know how much better either of these things are. Is there not any like creatures that will like dig for the spells that we want? But I don't know. I feel like if you want, I'm not sure but like, because I don't want to say there's any hard rule here, but if you want like a cantrip to find your spells, maybe you want more cantrips, but there's got to be a limit to how many cantrips you want, and then at some point you got to play with some disruption. Birds is good against the what's it called? Yeah, Birds is good against Blood Moon. Oh, the Craterhoof suggestion was for the Elves deck? That's possible. That's possible, but we don't have any way of tutoring it. And we don't... That deck did not make infinite amounts of mana.
I mean, that deck,
Oh, there's
though,
a description.
if you want the Craterhoof effect, though, the warrior dude that makes more tokens as you play elves, that has that Azuri effect where you can pump up your dudes. It's just really expensive.
I think this description goes over everything we just said, except that the aim is to disrupt the opponent with Thoughtseize and Inquisition to clear the way while digging with Serum Visions and Sleight of Hand to find the combo pieces. The combo consists of Grand Architect and Pilla-Palla. Well, you know what would have been great in this deck, but it doesn't exist anymore? Or maybe it wouldn't have been great. Or no, it would have been fine. What's it called? It's banned now, Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
That would have been something good. Then use Walking Ballista to ping enemy to death, or the enemy to death, or Spectral Sailor to draw the entire library and finish with Thassa's Oracle. Whichever win condition is needed. Finale to Devastation can help tutor for the missing combo piece, or a win condition, or simply overrun the with the +X/+X if the opponent has no blockers. Let's remember, if Birds of Paradise flies, one of the most broken mechanics ever in Magic. You go infinite with that Finale of Devastation, your opponent is dead.
Yeah, but also Finale gives trample.
Really?
Oh no, it gives haste. My bad. Ignore me.
Haste. It's okay. Yeah, we're thinking of Craterhoof now. Craterhoof gives trample. That's why it's necessary to have an unblockable creature.
I could have sworn I actually saw a Sultai Pilla-Palla deck just yesterday. I
think there's a problem with Summoner's Pact. Is Summoner's Pact any creature? Maybe it is. Oh, it's just a green creature. Oops. Summon.
I think it's green.
Choose library for a green creature card revealed, put into your hand, then shuffle your library. So we can't use Summoner's Pact. I've definitely made this mistake a million times. I was playing around. I had chat teach me about this because I was playing around Summoner's Pact to getting Walking Ballista when that's impossible. Ballista isn't green. I don't really have a lot of feedback, except maybe we don't want Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy. Maybe these should be sideboard cards. I don't know how badly you need this, and just increase the consistency with Sleight of Hand. Because I think it's fine to have Inquisition. Well, actually, we have Fatal Push here. We don't... Is Thoughtseize even in the main deck? Or was that, like, changed?
No, there are two.
Thoughtseize. So maybe we should have more Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes. I don't know how badly we need the spot removal. Maybe it's important. I don't know. I don't know how this deck plays out. I have to say, the list is pretty clean overall, even as is. Like, you have a good balance of tutors, the creatures, and hand disruption. But I get a sense you should be moving more in one direction or the other.
Yeah.
You have any last thoughts on this one, Maelstrom?
I don't know. When I play combo decks like this, I always just want to be able to find my combo. And I'd say a big thing is you have finales, but you need the infinite mana at that point. So finding Grand Architect with Finale is already setting you back. So really our big things to search it out are Sleight of Hand and Serum Visions. And if that's the case, I just want to see more. I just want to see more or a repeatable way. So like Spectral Sailor draws us cards, but it's 4 mana for 1 card.
Right. Well, anyway, thank you very much, Ellipsis, for sharing your deck list. It's a pretty sweet list. This is a cool suggestion. Pilla-Palla combo in mono blue artifact shell with Karn and Urza for mana sink maybe can work. I think that's a pretty cool suggestion. Then Karn can find that Walking Ballista and basically win the game. Karn is like a semi-tutor in its own right. Also can look for extra copies of Pilla-Palla. Interesting.
And if you're playing at blue, you can also play the Thieving Skydiver.
You can run the Thieving Skydiver. That's right. Steal their shit. All right. So anyway, that is going to be it again for deck list review. Let's see. I can, before we go, if anyone wants to follow Maelstrom MTG, this is where you can find his YouTube channel. Right down there below. Go give him a subscription. If budget MTG is what you're looking for, and in a variety of ways. Oh God, I didn't even thank my sponsors today. So we'll just quickly thank Fusion Gaming Online and Mana Traders. All my sponsors can be found in the description. Get 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Get 5% off all your purchases at Fusion Gaming Online using my coupon code Nikachu. And thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. Without all of you, this show is nothing. This show is only because everyone shows up every single morning. And if I didn't get to your comments or questions or deck list, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes a little bit longer than some other days. Depends how quickly I can start the show up. If you love the channel, you can also subscribe and support the channel by leaving a sub at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. If you've got Amazon Prime, you've got it linked up, you can support the channel for free. No cost to you, but supports the channel. Or become a patron on patreon.com/Nikachu MTG. Or hit the join button on YouTube. It's all good with me. All right, so any last words?
Thank you for having me on. This was fun.
You're welcome. And thanks for coming on to the show. I really appreciate it. All right. So as usual, everyone, keep brewing up that coffee and we'll keep brewing up the magic. See you next time.